I don't deserve to be a father. My son Leo, the little angel who used to laugh and throw himself into my arms, his small hands clinging tightly to my neck. From the day he was born until now, as he's grown into a little man who has to face the world on his own, I have never bought him a single new piece of clothing, never mixed him a can of formula, or even changed one of his diapers with my own hands. The shoes he wore when he was learning to walk, his mother, Sarah, bought them by scrimping and saving. The toys he played with while learning to talk, old things his grandparents dug out of the garage. Even his first major expense in life, his preschool tuition, was only paid because Sarah, in tears, had to ask her parents for the money. I, his father, who should have been his firmest rock, became the first and biggest lie in his life. I'm even less worthy of being a son. I worked at a sizable insurance company for 12 long years, grinding my way up from a clueless intern to a veteran on the team with decent sales numbers. In those 12 years, how much money did I send home? Zero. A cold, shameful zero. I almost never called my parents on my own accord. I was afraid to hear their concerned voices, because it would make the guilt gnawing at me impossible to hide. The only time I'd dial that familiar number was when my gambling debts had exploded again, when the collection agency's threatening calls went from a dozen a day to them banging on my door in the middle of the night, when I felt like I was a second away from being dumped in the Hudson River. Only then, like a dying coward, would I make the call, crying, "Mom, Dad, save me." But what I deserve least of all is to be a husband. Sarah, my wife, no, my ex-wife now. She was the dream girl in college, beautiful, kind, with stars in her eyes. She gave up better options to marry me, a man who had nothing but was full of confidence for the future. And what did I give her in return? I squeezed back every penny we'd spent during our sweet courtship, with interest, after we were married. I used all sorts of excuses to get back the money I'd given for our wedding, claiming it was for family investments. Behind her back, I stole the gold bracelet her mother had left her and pawned it at the sleaziest pawn shop in town. The cash I got for it vanished in less than an hour. Her parents, feeling for us as a new family, gave us a brand new Toyota Camry as a wedding gift. It was supposed to be the vehicle for our family's happy journeys. But in my hands, that car was driven to a title loan company 3 separate times, each time trading it for a sum of money that allowed me to sink deeper, until the last time, when I couldn't afford to get it back and just watched it get towed away, a total loss. That's a gambler for you. A complete, hopeless gambler. I bet if I posted on Facebook right now, crying my eyes out and writing, "Please, can a kind soul lend me $10 for a hamburger? I haven't eaten in 2 days." No one would pay me any mind. Not even an emoji. A gambler's end is to cheat everyone who trusts you, drain their last ounce of sympathy, and then be utterly abandoned by the world. Forget about borrowing money. At this point, I feel like if I hanged myself from my apartment doorknob, no one would even bother to call 911 for me. Looking back, my so-called 6 confessions to my family over the years were nothing more than 6 shamelessly orchestrated scams. Each time, I'd weep and swear I had turned over a new leaf. The first time, I said I lost money on a bad Bitcoin investment. The second, I claimed I was swindled by a trusted business partner. The third, I lied that I'd hit someone with my car and needed money for an emergency settlement. The fourth, I even forged a doctor's diagnosis, claiming I had a serious illness. All the lies, all the performances pointed to one naked goal: to get money from them, then immediately return to that gambling website that could send me to heaven or hell in an instant, and continue the never-ending battle. Before everything collapsed, my life was what many would consider the quintessential American dream. My father, a hard-working old-school man, ran a well-known liquor store in town with a steady business. My mother, a capable and kind woman, owned a cozy breakfast diner that always smelled of coffee and bacon. I worked at a national insurance company. Though I faced daily rejections from clients and the pressure of sales targets, my monthly income of $5,000 or $6,000 was enough for my small family to live a stable, comfortable life in the suburbs. And the greatest treasures in my life were Sarah and Leo. I still vividly remember our first date, sitting on a bench in Central Park as she talked about her dreams for the future, the sunlight catching her golden hair. In that moment, I felt like the luckiest man in the world. We bought a house, and even with a 30-year mortgage, every weekend I would be in the backyard mowing the lawn while Sarah prepared a barbecue in the kitchen, and Leo would be toddling around, chasing butterflies. That picture used to be the entire reason for my struggle. Many colleagues and friends envied me, saying, "Michael, you have everything we want." Yes, I once had it all. I got into gambling through a seemingly mundane business call. That afternoon, I had just closed a large life insurance policy with a middle-aged man named Frank, who was in the construction materials business and looked very successful. After he signed, he invited me to sit in his brand-new Cadillac. The leather seats smelled of money. He suddenly told me to be quiet, then mysteriously pulled out his phone, clasped his hands as if in prayer. I was confused, thinking it was some kind of special religious ritual. A few seconds later, he shot up from his seat as if he'd been electrocuted, screaming with excitement. Yes. I won. Amazing. $15,000 just like that. He scared the hell out of me. My heart skipped a beat. Out of professional habit and pure curiosity, I asked cautiously, Frank, congratulations. What are you playing? Is that the NASDAQ? That's some easy money. His face glowed with the smugness of a man in control. He handed me his phone and said, Stocks? Too slow. Look at this. On the screen, a dealer in a black tuxedo was skillfully dealing cards with a familiar layout. It was online Baccarat. It's exactly like a VIP room in a Las Vegas casino, Frank said, but you can do it from the comfort of your own home, just by lifting a finger. That image was like a giant magnet, instantly capturing my full attention. I watched as he just tapped the screen a few times, and $15,000 was deposited into his account. What did that number mean to me? It meant I had to work diligently, enduring the elements, facing countless clients' rejections, for 3 whole months to earn that much. And he did it in less than a minute. I felt like my entire worldview had been shattered. Almost begging, I asked him for the address of the gambling website. Frank shared it generously. As I was leaving, he even graciously sent me $50 via Venmo, patting me on the shoulder and saying, You worked hard today, Michael. It's hot out. Go get yourself a nice cup of coffee. It's not easy for you sales guys. The final, fatal blow was when he showed me the push notification from his banking app right then and there, confirming the $15,000 deposit. That string of clear digits, that official bank logo, vaporized the last shred of doubt in my mind that this could be a scam. Looking back, I wish he had just refused me that day, or that the website had been fake. I always think about how some people meet benefactors in life, people who give them a hand at a critical moment. The benefactor I met smiled as he personally kicked me into the abyss. For the next few days, I was restless. The website address was like a curse, circling in my mind. At work, I'd stare blankly at insurance policies on my computer screen. At night, coming home to the smiling faces of Sarah and Leo, I felt waves of guilt. I told myself it was a trap, that Frank just got lucky. But another voice kept whispering in my ear. Why don't you try? Maybe you'll be luckier. Just once. Win a little money. Buy Sarah that designer bag she's been talking about. Sign Leo up for the best enrichment classes. Finally, on a weekend when Sarah took Leo to visit her parents, I was home alone. The restless curiosity and desire for money completely overwhelmed my reason. I found the website in my phone's notes and opened it, my heart pounding. I told myself, I'm just going to experience online Vegas for a bit, it's no big deal. I used a low-limit credit card to register and deposited a cautious $50. I swore to myself, lose this $50 and I delete the account immediately, chalking it up to an expensive movie ticket. But that afternoon, it was like I was possessed. I lay on the couch, a cold beer in my hand, my eyes glued to the screen. I mimicked Frank, placing bets on banker and player. At first, I lost $10 and my stomach tightened. But soon, I won back $20. The thrill of getting it back was far more stimulating than winning outright. My palms began to sweat, adrenaline surging. After an hour, the $50 in my account had somehow turned into $200. I couldn't believe my eyes. I immediately clicked the withdraw button and entered my bank details. I expected a long, complicated process. Maybe the money would never even arrive. However, in the time it took me to go to the bathroom, my phone dinged. It was a text from my bank. Your account has been credited with $200. I must have read that text a dozen times. Then I logged into my banking app, and the extra $150 was really truly there. In that moment, my brain exploded, as if a bolt of lightning had split my skull open. I found the shortcut to wealth. I muttered to the empty living room. I can make $150 just messing around. If I had been bolder, used $500 as my stake, couldn't I have won $1,500 today? When Sarah and Leo came home that evening, they were greeted by a model husband and perfect father they had never seen before. I, the man who never did chores, had happily cooked a 4-course meal and mopped the floors until they shone. Sarah asked in surprise, Honey, did something good happen to you today? I smiled and hugged her, saying, I just suddenly felt I should do more for you both. She didn't know that my unusual excitement wasn't because of how much I loved them, but because I thought I had discovered a superhighway to change our social class. What was I thinking then? I was thinking about trading in our old Honda for a BMW, paying off our mortgage, and buying a bigger house with a pool in a better neighborhood, sending Leo to the most expensive private school. All of it, on that night when my mind was clouded by gambling, seemed so attainable. That night, after my wife and son were sound asleep, I tiptoed to the living room like a thief and opened the website again. This time, without any hesitation, I deposited $300. I gambled until the sky began to lighten, and not only had I won back what I'd lost during the day, but my account balance had reached an astonishing $1,200, a net profit of $900 overnight. My path to riches was now thoroughly confirmed. I shut down the computer, looked out at the quiet neighborhood, and felt an unprecedented sense of ambition. I no longer saw myself as an insurance salesman who had to bow to clients, but as a financial genius who could control his own destiny. However, a ticket to hell is often packaged as an invitation to heaven. The next day at noon, I opened the site again while waiting in line at the company cafeteria. I thought, I'll just win enough for lunch and stop. But my luck seemed off that day. A few hands in, I was down $200. I couldn't accept it. I increased my bets, trying to win it all back in one go. Instead, I lost more and more. By the time I finished my meal and got back to my desk, the over $3,000 in my account had been completely wiped out. A normal person would have woken up right then and realized it was a bottomless pit. But I didn't. My first reaction wasn't to suspect that gambling itself was a scam, but to angrily critique myself. Why was I so impulsive? Why didn't I stop when I was ahead? I blamed all my failures on my own lack of skill and discipline. From that moment on, I fell completely into the insane vortex of lose-lose, win-win, lose-lose-lose. Perhaps because I was a new fat sheep, the platform wasn't ready to slaughter me just yet. In the first 2 months, I had my wins and losses, and I was actually up a few $1,000s. This boiling the frog in warm water method completely numbed me. The platform's strategy of fattening you up before the kill was incredibly cunning. Whether I withdrew a few thousand or tens of thousands of dollars, the funds arrived with extreme speed, which made me trust its legitimacy and credibility 100%. I started to think that it was no different from day trading on Wall Street. As long as I mastered the patterns, I could make a steady profit. The real turning point came that summer. Due to an oversight on a contract detail, I was severely reprimanded by my regional manager and had my $1,200 quarterly bonus docked. I felt both ashamed and furious, a nameless fire burning inside me. That night, I didn't go home. Instead, I drove to a deserted parking lot. I opened that familiar website with only one thought in my mind. I'm going to win back my bonus, and I'm going to win double. I threw the few $1,000s left in my account into the game, my eyes bloodshot, betting frantically. But that night, Lady Luck did not smile on me. I watched my balance dwindle, bit by bit, until it hit zero. I refused to believe it. I immediately maxed out my credit card for $5,000 and deposited it. An hour later, that $5,000 was also gone. Finally, at 3 in the morning, with all my credit cards maxed out, I had lost a total of $10,000 in a single night. That was more than half a year's salary. I slumped in the driver's seat. The city lights outside were brilliant, but I felt like I was trapped in ice. Cold sweat soaked my shirt. My hands trembled, so much I could barely grip the steering wheel. It was then that I felt a real, true fear. I immediately took out my phone and Googled, "online Baccarat scam." Every headline that popped up was like a sharp knife stabbing me in the heart. Husband jumps to his death after losing $1 million to online gambling. The destruction of a middle-class family, from first bet to utter ruin, exposing the entire process of online gambling, pig butchering scams. I clicked on link after link, reading stories of families destroyed, so similar to my own, and I was scared out of my wits. I decided to quit gambling. Immediately. Right now. But my brain was already firmly in the grip of 3 words. I can't accept this. A demonic voice roared at me. You want to quit? Fine. But you have to win back the 10 grand you lost first. That's your hard-earned money. Why should you let those scumbags behind the screen have it? The devil's temptation always finds you at your most vulnerable. The next day, I shamelessly borrowed $1,000 from my best friend, lying that it was a family emergency. With this last bit of lifeline money, I logged back into the site. I told myself, this is the last time. Win back the 10,000, and I swear I'll never touch it again. A miracle happened. That night, my luck was so incredible, it was as if I was possessed by the god of gamblers. With that $1,000, I easily won back the $10,000. When my balance showed $11,000, I was ecstatic and immediately cashed out. The moment the money hit my account, I let out a long sigh of relief, feeling like I had returned from hell to the land of the living. Quit gambling? Those words were instantly thrown to the winds. Not only did I not stop, but I became even more convinced of my judgment. This thing has a pattern, you can win money from it. I only lost before because I wasn't calm enough. This feeling was 1,000,000 times better than hustling for business and sucking up to clients. How does a gambler walk step by step to their doom? It's all because of greed and those miraculous comebacks. The house relies on this to suck every last drop of blood from you. No gambler can truly walk away after a big win. An oath. It's worth less than a fart. They let you in once, and even if you were crying like a dog yesterday, today you'll be smiling brighter than anyone. For the next few years, I repeated this cycle of big loss, small win, miraculous comeback. I developed a delusion that the house could never truly kill me, that I could always escape disaster at the last minute. Until the most fatal blow fell. That time, over one insane weekend, I lost a staggering $50,000, my parents' life savings, which I had tricked them into giving me under the guise of an investment. And this time, no matter how I tried, I could not claw my way back. From that day on, the gates of hell truly opened for me. My life entered an irreversible vicious cycle, first confessing to my family, then tearfully asking for money. Once I had the money, I'd gamble again, lose it all, then start applying for high-interest payday loans. When I couldn't pay those back, I started stealing Sarah's money, selling her jewelry, taking out title loans on our Camry, borrowing from friends and colleagues. I became a black hole, greedily swallowing everything around me. That $50,000 was just the beginning. In the decade that followed, I was like a tireless vampire, draining the decades of savings from two hard-working, kind families. My parents sold the liquor store they had run for years. My in-laws gave me their retirement funds, my sister, Sarah's brother. Everyone was bled dry by my endless lies. I even used my position at work to misappropriate client premiums. Eventually, the snowball rolled into a number I couldn't even dare to comprehend, a full $6 million.